70 to 90%. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. That is the terrifying reality of how many mergers and acquisitions completely, utterly fail to create shareholder value. I mean, we're talking about companies spending billions of dollars, burning through months of executive time, only to end up literally destroying value. It's wild.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're putting on our scrubs and performing a full autopsy on these corporate M&A failures. We're going to demystify exactly why these massive corporate buyouts so frequently just flatline right there on the operating table. And more importantly, we're going to look at how the smartest companies out there actually survive them.
So here's our diagnostic checklist for today. First up, the shocking M&A reality. Then we'll look at the winner's curse, the due diligence trap, post-merger integration, and decoding the culture clash. Finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate cure, the serial acquirer playbook. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the shocking M&A reality, or as I like to call it, dissecting the cause of death.
When you look at the research, there are really three main culprits, the big three killers of deal mortality. Number one, causing a massive 42% of failures is simply overpayment, paying way too much. Number two, at 31%, is inadequate due diligence. And right behind that, coming in at 27%, is poor post-merger integration. Let's really dig into each of these pitfalls.
Okay, moving to Section 2. This is the biggest killer, overpaying and the winner's curse. Winning the auction, but losing the prize.
The absolute crucial thing to understand here is this concept called the winner's curse. It's a very real psychological and financial trap. Picture this. You're in a highly competitive auction setting, and deal fever just takes over completely. Driven by CEO ego, fear of missing out, or immense pressure from advisors, the winning bidder ends up grossly overestimating what the target company is actually worth. And the result? They pay this massive premium that demands basically impossible business synergies just to break even. If you're an investor or a shareholder, this is the exact moment the value of your portfolio starts going up in smoke.
And the math behind this trap? It's genuinely staggering. Research shows that even the top investment banks disagree on a target's maximum value by an average of 15% compared to pre-merger stock prices. That level of uncertainty is super dangerous. When valuation disagreement is that high, just a one standard deviation increase in that disagreement pushes the acquisition premium up by a whopping 6 percentage points. The winner overpays for no other reason than the uncertainty gave their optimism room to just run totally wild.
Which brings us to our second deal killer in Section 3, the due diligence trap. Basically, looking past the financials.
Get this, 70% of mergers fail to achieve their expected revenue synergies. 70%. Why does that happen? Well, mainly because due diligence is so frequently incredibly rushed. A process that legitimately requires a 90-day deep dive gets crammed into a 30-day surface-level check. Buyers rely on all this overly optimistic math, they miss glaring red flags, things like intense customer concentration or key employee flight risk, and they completely blind themselves to the reality of what they're actually buying. If you're a consumer or an employee, this is exactly why that shiny new merger you just read about in the news often leads to a sudden drop in product quality, or worse, massive layoffs. And that brings us to a really fascinating, honestly shocking concept from the research: revenue dyssynergies. Because of these rush checks, buyers almost never anticipate that merging companies typically lose anywhere from 2 to 5% of their combined customers. Just gone. For example, say a retail bank closes overlapping branches after an acquisition to save on costs. Well, they often see a sudden, totally unexpected wave of customers defecting to competitors. The buyers simply never factored that bleed into their shiny, optimistic synergy spreadsheets.
All right, let's look at Section 4, surviving post-merger integration. This is all about day one readiness, because even if you don't overpay and even if you do your homework, poor integration is where the value slowly and painfully bleeds out.
Here's the thing. Integration planning has to start way before the deal actually closes. Drawing straight from the playbook of successful enterprises, here are the core survival tactics. First, you absolutely need a centralized management team driving the entire process. You've got to focus intensely on day one readiness. That means payroll, email, compliance, all of it needs to be fully operational the exact second the deal officially closes. From there, you map out your milestones for the first 100 days. You develop a unified operating model. You standardize your financial controls super early to avoid total auditor nightmares, and you track your synergy realization strictly against your original plan. No winging it.
Moving right along to Section 5, decoding the culture clash. This is the unseen iceberg that sinks so many massive corporate ships.
According to a major academic journal study, we found a massive driver behind the steel mortality rate. 83% of mergers failed to create their intended value specifically because they ignore the soft people issues. Seriously, 83%. When cultural strategies are just pushed aside, productivity drops, morale tanks, and your top talent literally walks right out the front door. It turns that beautiful 2 + 2 = 5 synergy dream into a 2 + 2 = 3 nightmare. If you've ever lived through a corporate acquisition as an employee, you probably know exactly how painful this feels.
So how do we actually diagnose something as muddy as culture? We can look at Edgar Sheen's 3 levels of culture. It's like a pyramid. We start right at the surface with artifacts. These are the visible things, like office layout and daily routines. Then we go one layer deeper to espouse values. You know, the mission statements they print on the posters in the break room. But here is where deals actually sink. Level 3, the underlying assumptions. These are the unseen, totally unconscious beliefs that truly drive behavior. If the buyer's underlying assumption is data drives everything, but the target company's core assumption is seniority makes the rules, well, you've got a fatal iceberg dead ahead. You have to design interventions at all 3 of these levels if you want to survive.
Pivoting away from the autopsy of failure, let's actually look at the blueprint for survival. Section 6, the serial acquirer playbook, the cure for the curse.
The difference in outcomes here is honestly night and day. First-time acquirers, they succeed only 23% of the time. But serial acquirers, the battle-tested veterans who have done 10 or more of these deals, they boast a much more robust 54% success rate. Experience and discipline matter enormously here. It isn't just luck. It is a completely different, highly systematized approach to the market.
So what exactly do these veterans do differently? Well, they follow a very strict playbook to beat those odds. First, they set hard, walk-away prices way before negotiations even start. And the kicker? They actually walk away when the bidding gets too hot. They commit to 90+ days of extremely thorough due diligence. They build out their integration plans well before anyone signs the paperwork. They conduct deep, searching cultural assessments instead of just glancing at the balance sheet, and they lock in their key talent with retention agreements super early in the process. At the end of the day, they rely on dedicated M&A teams and cold, hard discipline, completely rejecting that intoxicating deal fever. Which leaves us with one final, really provocative question to ask yourself the next time you see a massive corporate deal hit the news headlines. Are they buying that company to create true value? Or is it just ego? Are they simply paying a massive premium just for the privilege of winning an auction? If this explainer showed us anything today, it's that discipline creates value, while empire building, well, that just creates statistics. Thank you so much for joining me to dissect this fascinating topic. Keep these lessons in your back pocket, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.